Diolch am ymuno ni yng Nghanadledd Cenedlaethol Seren 2018. Ewch yn bellach. Thank you for joining us in the Seren National Conference 2018, Above and Beyond. Dyma sesiwn. This is session NACE, Rhannu Ymchwil ac Arferion Gorau. NACE, Sharing Research and Best Practice.
May I introduce myself? My name is Rhannu Ymchwil. You can hear and see more about me on the NACE website. But I am the NACE Associate Wales, and I've been given this task, and one of them is to introduce you to the Challenge Development Programme. And this is something that NACE has published on the 19th of last month. Maybe many of you don't know about it. If you are NACE members, and are there NACE members amongst us here? Great, that's good. It's a good thing as well that many of you aren't NACE members, because hopefully by the end of this 20-minute session, you'll want to know more and will become members. But the one thing that I'd like to tell you today is why are you here? Why now? Why NACE? And what can we give you that will make life easier in your schools, especially at a time where there's a new ESTIN framework and there's a new curriculum coming on board next April. And what I would like to tell you is that the NACE Challenge Development Programme is aligned with all the new initiatives that's happening in Wales today. One of these slides is a quote by ESTIN. And if you are in charge of math pupils at your school, you may know about this particular report that came out this March. And in fact, NACE and the work of NACE with more able and talented pupils are, it's recorded in the report. They do state that schools that used to follow maybe some of you have got this in your schools. This was published about 10 years ago. But schools that follow these type of guidance are very much better at being able to develop programs for their more able and talented pupils. So as you can see, ESTIN is very much in accord with knowing that now it's important that we do look after our talented pupils. So the NACE Development Programme, what is it then? Well, if you're not members of NACE at the moment, then I very much hope by the end of this session that you'll want to know more. What happens is that a school joins NACE, depending on the amount of pupils in the school, but then all members of staff are members, and they do have then, they are able to get into the website and get many, many advantages. Because what the Challenge Development Programme is, it states there, it's a set of tools. It's centred around the NACE framework. But what is important is, it's you that decide if, for example, that you want to become a NACE Challenge Award school. What NACE are trying to do now is hold your hands so you go through a membership programme. Then it's a case of maybe purchasing the framework, and I'll show you what the framework contains. And then eventually, when you are ready, as a school, as an organisation, then you will be able to go for the NACE Challenge Award, which I will speak about a little later on. So what does it offer? Well, as I said, the framework, but also it's bespoke consultancy. And this is where I come in. I hope I'll become the face of NACE in Wales, but it is a case of being able to come out to speak to your governors, to your leaders, to your consortia, and even to your cluster groups. And I've been starting on that work last term very successfully through the medium of both Welsh and English. Also, they have a CPT programme. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail because in your pack, you have the information of what's going on in Wales and also as well across the border. I'd also like to tell you, of course, that NACE is an international organisation. So it's been very well thought out, and obviously people think a great deal of the organisation. And then, through membership, you have an opportunity to apply for accreditation through the NACE Challenge Award. And lastly, of course, you have access to other schools that have won the Challenge Award. You are a community of schools, and that, I think, certainly helps in today's uncertainty as far as various organisations are concerned. So, your members, what exactly then is the challenge framework? And you can see in the past, if some of you are familiar with this publication, there were 10 standards. But NACE has listened. They know what's happening in Wales as far as the curriculum is concerned. And they also know about the new ESTIN framework. And as you can see, with this new challenge framework, there are 6 elements. And if you look through those elements, you can see quite clearly that many of them dovetail towards what's happening with the new curriculum and the new ESTIN framework, where you've got leadership and governance, identification and transition, curriculum teaching and support, professional development, communication and partnership, and last but not least, the monitoring and evaluation. So if I can just take you through quite quickly the content of some of these elements to see again whether this framework is something that you can take on board and certainly that you can develop in your schools. So the first one is leadership and governance. And here you will be hearing how you can commit the more able learners to the importance of leadership within the school. Many of you might be MAT coordinators, or you might be sixth form teachers that are involved with MAT learners. But the one good thing about this framework, it's been written from the very early stages of education, that is the foundation phase, right up to when they leave school. So you have got a vehicle that you feel can take you through the various stages of the MAT learner's development. I would argue as well, where you've got that kind of situation, all pupils benefit from a clear development programme. Secondly, identification and transition. Everybody, as I told you, is a whole school approach. And I'm very much hoping at the moment that NACE and the consortia will be speaking soon. And if that occurs, then again, as I say, we will be able to help in various other ways, and you will be able to feel secure that not only is the NACE brand important, but also that they're working with the consortia and, of course, ultimately, Welsh Government. Next, the curriculum. I'm not going to go through all these, but as you can see, there's a great deal of information in this particular element. Importance of a challenge for all, that we have breadth, depth and flexibility, as well as social and emotional support. And I think that is one of the things that I've been here the last 3 days, and you can see that that is a very, very important aspect, not only of what's been going here in the conference, but also as far as the new curriculum is concerned. Then element 4, the professional development. Professional development as far as you are concerned as staff, the upskilling of staff. And as I said, there is in your packet quite a comprehensive CPD package that NACE is going to introduce, not only in Wales, but also over the border. But again, as NACE members, you can go to all of those HMS. Then communication partnership. It's this business of listening and taking account of views of more able learners. An important element in B then is to the view of parents. And also, of course, other partners and stakeholders. we can see that this is a holistic framework and everybody is involved with making the experience of the more able learner a very gratifying one as far as school is concerned. Lastly, of course, the monitoring and evaluation. And all this is contained in the 114-page document that is the NACE framework. It has starting points about the role of the MAT coordinator, the role of leadership. Your hands are led through the document, and it can ensure that the experiences that everybody has at school level, be it the leaders, the learners, and yourselves, are one of success. It certainly can support school improvement or school development plans. Again, as I said, you can see the obvious points that this can occur when the framework is used. And it has a strong focus on the daily teaching and learning. In fact, if you look, there are exemplars of what to look for in lessons. And that's the other good thing about the framework. There are exemplars of how to fill some of these pages up. Everything is there to make life for you a lot easier. As I said, that's an off-stage quote. We've spoken about this, and there are many of these important points in your pack. The online resources, if you go to the website, the consultancy, as I have spoken to you, and I will very much like to speak to individuals if you want to, at the end of this session to see whether we can work together, or I will give you my email address and you can contact me in your own time with your own specific needs. Then the bespoke CPD, as I said a great deal about that already. I think this is important, what schools think about using the framework. But the one that I want to you to look at is this by John Murphy, who's a head teacher. And I think this is a very important quote, especially in the days that we are teaching. School leaders constantly wade through the latest wave of education initiatives flooding the market. That is very true. But as you can see, John has seen that the NACE website, the resources, everything that is there for you to use is something that he recommends, as do many other head teachers and schools in Wales and across the border. Right, your starting points then. And this is interesting. Many of you are saying that you're not even NACE members. So you'd be thinking about entry level. There are then situations where you can develop along with the challenge development program. But as you can see, it's only at the very end that you need, and it's only when you decide as a school organisation if you want to go for the NACE Challenge Award. But may I tell you, as a NACE assessor, you will not feel that that is something that you are frightened of by the end. Because working through the framework, you will naturally be a school that wants to be a NACE Award school. And it's not like an ESTIN inspection, believe you me. It is rigorous, as you can imagine, but following the framework as well, what you will find that the day when the assessors come out is a day of celebration for the school. And at the end of the day, you are told quite clearly if you have succeeded in becoming a NACE Challenge school. So, if you are at the beginning of establishing good practice, consolidating and understanding, and a school which is already demonstrating high quality in a provision area, then you might be ready for the NACE Challenge Award. But NACE is calling this new incentive a development program, and there is a reason for that. You develop along with us as an organisation, and an organisation that is well respected internationally and within Wales. So what are your next steps then? Well, hopefully I won't be going on too long now. Please come and have a chat. And you can see then, where do you go from here? Are you in the early stages? Are you consolidating, as I said? Are you a school that's ready to go for the award? So the first thing I would say, and again, NACE helps you here, is to conduct an initial audit where you are at the moment. And maybe some of you now are speaking to your primary schools. You're working together in trying to get something off the ground, so to speak. Well, if there is something ready there for you, and you don't have to do the work, and if there is a personality, I better watch what I'm saying, but if there is somebody that can help you to do that, then that will make life a lot easier for many of you. If you do get the NACE Challenge Award, then you can become a leading schools network. You can become a member. And then, of course, again, that is on another level completely. Okay? This is a quote from Hilary Lowe, who works in NACE. We already have much to celebrate in the school, but we can make significant progress with the NACE Challenge Development Programme supporting us. The journey will have some challenges. In Wales, many at the moment, but gaining national recognition for our work will be a well-deserved reward for all staff and learners. Diolch yn fawr, diolch am wrando, thank you for listening. Have you any questions?
What's your pricing policy?
It's all down in your goodie pack, right? Yes. To become a NACE member, as I said, it depends on the number in the school. And then you, in addition, purchase the framework. But if you look at the content and what it contains compared to the price, it's very little to pay for you not losing sleep in the night. Okay? So again, I will speak to anybody about that situation. If, for example, somebody put their hands up here and you said that you were a NACE Challenge Awards school, did you have it recently?
I think it's our second year now.
Right. Well, the framework for you would be free. Right? The new framework comes on board next April. So you're in a very good position at the moment to be joining, because I certainly wouldn't go back to the old standards now. They won't be acceptable from April onwards. So it is a good time to join. The other thing that you've got in your packets, I'm not saying that I'm Mrs. Santa Claus, but by joining through the Sharing network today, it is a considerably less purchase. I think it's 10% off. May I also give you my personal NACE email? And if you want to get in touch then, I'd be more than happy to have a personal word with you. A fel wedes I, gallai ddod i'r ysgolion I drafod yn Gymraeg neu'n Saesneg, ac mae yna gopi o'r pwyr yma yn y Gymraeg, os hoffech chi gael e hefyd. So the name is Rhannu Jenkins, capital R, H-I-A-N-N-O-N, then a capital J, E-N-K-I-N-S, Jenkins, at nace.co.uk. Diolch yn fawr.